So hi, I'm Amber from Influencer Updates on Instagram, and tonight I'm going to be talking about 4 stories because I actually missed last week's live because I was on a Disney cruise and I didn't realise that even though we were in Melbourne, we wouldn't have phone service. It was very, very strange. But the 4 stories tonight are Sophie Cachia, Kat Clark, Ashy Bines and Keiara Dorrough, I believe her name is. She's Aussie mum vlogger. And I'm going to be changing one of the stories. So the 4th story is now going to be about Sarah Kearns and her new course that she is releasing tonight. So I've been getting a lot of messages about that one today. So the first story, Sophie Cachia. So as you probably have all seen, in the last 2 weeks, she did an interview with Stella magazine. They also have a podcast. And this interview was so good. I actually really enjoy Sophie Cachia. I find that she doesn't keep secrets. Like, she tells us what we want to hear, and I love that about her. If you haven't read her first book, it's called, what's it called? She, Her, Then There Was Her. It's called Then There Was Her. And it is juicy. It's got so much in it that I actually felt a bit uncomfortable reading it, that I was like, oh, I feel like I shouldn't know this stuff. So yeah, this is kind of what her Stella interview was like as well. Like, she gave us a lot of information. So I'll give a bit of a brief summary of what she said in the interview and also just general sort of stuff. So she used to date Garnered, who was an AFL player, and she has 2 children with him. The first one was Bobby, so he is a boy. I believe he's older. And then the second one is Florence. So she is a girl. She was called Betty at birth, but she is now called Florence or Flossie. So yeah, they have 2 kids together. And then they broke up in 2019, I believe it was. And since then, Sophie Cachia has decided she is lesbian and has been dating women exclusively. So her first big sports player romance was that with Alana Kennedy. And in the book, Then There Was Her, it is very much a love letter to Alana Kennedy. Like, she speaks very highly of her, very highly of the relationship, just sort of says like it was toxic at the time, but wrong place, wrong time sort of thing. And that she ended up being with Maddie Garrick, who at the time of releasing the book, she was engaged to, I think, or maybe slightly after. But yeah, so she ended up being with Maddie Garrick, who is a basketball player. But Maddie Garrick, who lived with her, she ended up moving to Italy to pursue a basketball career. She was already a basketball player in Australia. But unfortunately, they decided to maintain their relationship or their engagement, and then Sophie went over to Italy to surprise Maddie one time and ended up cutting her trip short. And then when she got back to Australia, she announced that they were now broken up. And since then, she has implied or confirmed that Maddie cheated on her, which is what everyone suspected, because Maddie ended up very soon after the announcement, she was posting like hands of another woman, and I think it was one of her teammates. So yeah, that was a very awful breakup, unfortunately. Sophie Cachia has also dated an Essendon AFLW player called Sophie Vanderhusen. I just call her Sophie VDH as opposed to Sophie Cachia. And they unfollowed each other in January 2024, so January this year. Sophie is only 23, by the way, Sophie VDH is 23 and Sophie Cachia is 34. So that was an 11-year age gap, which was very surprising. I'm not sure if Sophie VDH lived with Sophie Cachia. I can't confirm that. But anyway, earlier this year, I put it on subscribers. It was in about July that Sophie Cachia was dating a new person called Maddie Prasparkas. And she is also an AFLW player for Essendon. So she is the teammate of Sophie VDH, Sophie Cachia's ex-girlfriend. So Maddie is 24, so a year older than Sophie VDH. And yeah, so as I said, in July, I announced that, and Maddie Prasparkas very quickly unfollowed me. So somebody must have sent it to her from my subscriber stories. I'm finding that very frustrating lately. Like, I looked at my stats tonight and it said in the last 30 days, 3 million people, or there's been 3 million views on my account, and it's way too high for my liking, because I actually like to stay very low key. I don't like that lots of people are looking at my account, because I find the more that look at my account, the more often I get blocked and the more often I get messaged by influencers telling me, oh, take this down. And it's really annoying. Like, even when they message me saying, take down this subscriber story, I'm like, you don't even follow me or subscribe to me. Like, why are you telling me this? I just think it's really annoying. But yeah, so she must have seen that story. It must have been sent to her and she blocked me. But anyway, in this interview, Sophie Cachia confirmed that her new baby will be her baby only, much like Florence and Bobby, and she will not be sharing this baby with Maddie Prespakis, although Maddie Prespakis will be the baby's stepmom, and they do not live together at the moment. So Maddie has her own house and Sophie Cachia has her own house. So I thought that was very interesting, considering they are in a very serious relationship. But her future plans, Sophie Cachia's future plans, she said that she plans to be a mum, of course, but it was interesting because she said she wants to like step back a bit from her businesses and that she regrets going straight back to work when she had her daughter Flossie. And she also, in the last 2 days, has announced that she is launching a Cachia Pajamas maternity range. So that to me seems that she's stepping her business up. I suppose, you know, that's cashing in on the fact that she's pregnant, and then is going to step back a bit once she has her baby. She has that in partnership with another person. I can't remember who it is, but yeah, it's not just hers on her own. So I guess the other person will run a lot of it while maybe Sophie can step back a bit. Also, other news with Sophie is that her ex, Jared Cachia, the father of her other 2 children, he had a 3rd child this week, and that was a girl called Maeve. So yeah, she'll be close in age to Sophie Cachia's new daughter, because she has announced that it's going to be a girl. But Jared and his current partner, they are both on private profiles, but Jared's father, he is on public and he has 12,000 followers, and he actually announced that publicly, which was quite surprising. And followers are really confused because when I posted this announcement, people thought that Jared's dad was his partner. They're like, oh, is Jared in a same-sex relationship as well? But I was like, no, it's actually his dad, but his dad obviously looks very good for his age, so that's why people suspected that. And another future plan for Sophie is that she plans to have 1 more baby after this next baby. So yeah, she will have 4 babies in total. That is her plan. Okay, I'll read the comments first and then I'll move on to the next story. Oh, people assuming, oh no, I won't talk about that. I'm going to wait till I get to it. A lot of people are waiting for an upcoming story. I'm just looking for Sophie Cachia comments. Sophie Cachia can't be alone. It's an interesting point. She has jumped through like from relationship to relationship, but I guess that's just her personality. Like maybe she is just somebody that people want to date and she really likes being in a relationship. Much like Tammy Hembro, like she says she loves love. Sophie Cachia has had more young athlete girlfriends than I've had hot dinners. Yeah, she definitely has a type. She loves going for young athletes. Sorry, there's just so many comments about Ashy and I'm not up to that one yet. Didn't Jared just have a new baby? Yes. Oh, Sophie Cachia, yes, you did join at the right time. I was just talking about your interview and yeah, basically that. All right, so the next story I'm going to talk about is Kat Clark. So this week, the owner of Sora Athleisure, her name is Laika. So Sora is spelled S-O-R-R-A, Sora Athleisure. She decided to Google her own brand name and she found that Kat Clark was selling a gifted jacket and leggings on her Depop for $28. So yeah, she typed in her own brand. That's what came up as something for Sora Athleisure. Laika said that she understands that Kat may not have loved the athleisure set, but she suggested that maybe Kat could have donated the set or gifted it to a friend who might like it rather than profiting from it, and that Laika ended up buying it back off Kat's Depop because she now wants to gift it to a follower who would enjoy it. So I thought that this was a really classy sort of video from this owner, being that, yeah, she didn't trash Kat. She said, like, you know, she understands, but also she's like wanting to call it out, I suppose. But it is true. I did go on the Depop and it definitely is like, it's called like Clark Family. And they sell just like heaps of stuff. Probably, yeah, a lot of it gifted. I guess it makes sense because they just like do closet clean outs. They're not going to remember what was gifted, what was purchased. But yeah, it definitely is a bad look. And a lot of people look very negatively upon influencers selling gifted items for a profit. We don't know what they're doing with the profit. They may be using that for personal expenses. They might be donating the money. I know that Molly May she has a Depop account. I think she's sponsored by Depop actually. And it says in the bio of hers that all proceeds go to charity. But I don't know if that's a very common thing. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting that she bought it back, and how awkward now when I think someone probably runs it for Kat Clark, or maybe she runs it herself. But yeah, so awkward when she now has to send it back to the owner who bought it off her. But yeah, that was a very interesting story to me. I didn't gain much traction on my subscribers, which I thought it would, because people really, really dislike when influencers sell stuff. But I then posted about it again, reminding people, and then everyone was like, whoa, yeah, this is actually really full on. So maybe the algorithm just wasn't on my side that day when I first posted it. Okay, the third story I'm going to talk about is Ashy Bines. So that is what majority of the comments are about. That's what everyone wants to know. Okay, I'm going to wind it back a bit. So about a week ago, Ashy Bines and her business partner, Keiara, Aussie mum vlogger, so they announced that they were going to be launching a new product. So they currently have a podcast together. They have a journal together, which is like a self-help journal that has information as well as bits that you fill out. So I think that was like $90 plus postage. So that was a bit of a controversy at the time that it was so expensive, but people were saying it was good. So that's the main thing, I suppose. Anyway, they said they're going to be launching a new product, and they were dropping some clues. So the first clue was that it's a product. The second clue was connecting, sexy, open, deep. Again, not really sure what this means. And the third clue was a party for two, it's me and you. So people were thinking maybe it's like connection cards, which I know that Georgie Stevenson, she has 2 decks of those as part of her Rise and Conquer brand. So that to me is probably the best guess, and it sort of fits in with the journal, which is another thing that Rise and Conquer have actually. Yeah, maybe they're sort of copying that sort of business model. Not copying, but inspired by. So yeah, I'm thinking it was connection cards, but don't know for sure. And then on the day that that was supposed to be launched, they said, oh, sorry. I haven't written here what exactly happened. They wrote, like, sorry, we've actually cancelled the launch. It's going to be coming at a later date. And that's sort of all they said. They didn't explain what was happening. And then that day or the next day, all of a sudden, Keiara and Ashy were no longer following each other on Instagram or TikTok. And if you look at the photos of them together on Ashy's page, if you try to click the tags, Keiara is not tagged in them anymore, which means that one of them has blocked the other, basically. So we don't know who had blocked who, but then that day or maybe the next day, this all happened in very quick succession. Aussie mum vlogger, she posted a very cryptic story saying, I no longer see the good in people, I see the truth. Lucky I'm a strong motherfucker. And everybody immediately was like, oh, okay, this is sounding like she's the one who's blocked Ashy, but yeah, we don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter because it will come out in the wash sort of thing. They then announced this morning that Keiara has done a solo pod episode announcing her departure, but Ashy was in it with her at the start. And at the start of the pod, they were like talking really nicely about each other, and it seemed all very amicable. And Keiara explained that the reason why she's leaving the podcast is because it's taking up too much of her time and she wants to spend time on her family. They were planning to do live shows next year as well as 2 episodes a week, and she's been doing a lot of self-development, and it's making her overwhelmed with like always trying to strive for more. And she just wants to like step back and be her old self and not be so stressed all the time and focus on her family. Sounded really legit, but it was sort of a bit weird considering the other stuff, like that story that she'd posted. But yeah, that would make sense as to why they delayed the launch. Like maybe Keiara was feeling overworked and overwhelmed. But they also announced that Ashy Bines is going to be coming out with, she's going to be like finishing off the year by doing some solo eps with the producer as well as some interviews. And then she's going to be doing a new podcast with a new co-host next year. But then everything sort of turned a little bit. So Keiara, since then, it seems like she wants to speak. Like she's been posting a lot of cryptic things about saying no to people. And there's been comments on her page saying, I'm sorry to hear about you and Ashy. I can see that you're going to be better off without her. And she's like liking those comments and saying thanks. So it very much seems like Keiara's the one that has blocked Ashy. But then Ashy's side of the thing, okay, I haven't got this screenshot here, but Ashy posted in their Grow and Glow Facebook group, and she wrote something about Can you please all not comment on this post? Like, we don't want people questioning things. We don't want people gossiping. This is a very horrible situation for both of us. And then she mentioned that she has her brain aneurysm, that she has an upcoming operation for, and that the brain aneurysm is caused by stress. So please don't add to her stress by commenting or speculating about this situation. Now, I feel like that is quite manipulative in that with Ashy, I think that she needs a bit of PR help when there's a crisis like this, because I feel like her automatic reaction, like we saw it when she had her friendship fallout with Sammy Leo about 6 years ago, her tactic back then was just to deny. Everyone was like, what happened with Sammy? Like, where is she? And she's like, oh no, everything's fine. Like, we've just drifted. And I feel like that's the sort of thing she wanted to say with this. But unfortunately, Kiara's not going along with that plan, and she's making it clear that something big has happened. But I feel like, firstly, if Ashley doesn't want to see these negative comments, she could turn off her phone. But secondly, I feel like if she just told us the truth, then we would stop speculating. Because people keep asking me about Sammy and Ashy. They still ask me nearly daily. And like I said, it's been 6 years since they stopped being friends. And Sammy hasn't spoken out about it either. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of NDA, like non-disclosure agreement that's going on. And that's why Sammy hasn't been able to. But yeah, I feel like if Ashy just came out and told us what happened with Kiara, then we would stop speculating. Everybody would be like, whoa. And then it would blow over in a day or two. Like, I think the truth and an apology is always better than pretending and like trying to hide things under the rug, trying to tell people not to ask questions. But yeah, that's just my opinion on that one. So let's go through all your comments now, because there are a lot. Everybody is very interested in this story. Ashy Bines. Oh, I better not read that one. I don't want to like slam anyone, you know. Aussie Mum Vlogger is not holding back on the shade. Yes, I do agree with that. Kiara's replacement is in damage control on the Glow and Grow forum. Oh, I haven't noticed that. I'll have to go have a look. Aussie Mum Vlogger is worse, in my opinion. I messaged her saying, can she please try not to show certain videos of children, because while it may seem innocent, there are heaps of creeps online, and she blocked me. I mean, fair enough that she blocked you. Like, obviously, she's going to block you for that. But also, yeah, I mean, the older I get and the older my kids get, the more I see how bad it is to put your children online. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's crazy how much we know about these influencers' children, how much they show us. And yeah, I do agree that this shouldn't be online, a lot of this stuff. Even the fact that, like, when I share a screenshot of influencers, most of the time their children are in it. And I feel weird about that. Like, I feel like I should be blanking their children out, but I'm like, well, that's on the internet for everyone to see, and they've got a hell of a lot more followers than me. But yeah, I'm even feeling uncomfortable about that. So I feel like when they're sharing it to like 1 million people, it's quite bad. Oh, Sophie Cachia's commented here that at least Maddie Prasparkas is not blonde. That is, her usual type is blonde. Very true. What else about Ashy? Oh, someone's saying here that it sounds like sex toys was the product. The clues were very much giving sex toys vibes, but I feel like that's what they were trying to pretend it was going to be, but I don't think it actually was. Oh, someone's noticed her, Ashy Bines' friend Megsy hasn't been around much lately. I feel like she's definitely still friends with Megsy, but yeah, it seems like her and Gretty have drifted a bit, although Ashy has been commenting on her stuff again lately. What else? I replied to one of Kiara's cryptic stories saying, we all thought you were too nice for Ashy, and she replied saying she feels silly and wish she saw the red flag sooner. Podcast today seems totally forced. Interesting. Okay, so my theory on what this fallout is over is the new product. So I'm guessing it can't be a coincidence that on the day of the product launch, that's when they had their falling out. So maybe it's to do with like money surrounding the product launch. Not sure. That's the only theory I've got. And nobody else seems to have a theory either. So I guess that's just what I'm going to roll with for now. Apparently they are renaming the podcast Going and Not So Glowing. I don't think so. If she's so stressed, stop being an influencer. Yeah, she definitely has stepped back a lot. I'll give her that. She's doing a lot of hideaway stuff though at the moment, actually. Yeah, someone here saying they keep their daughter off social media completely. I can definitely see the benefits of doing that. Oh, this person saying they feel uncomfortable looking at influencers' children too. Yeah. I think that, yeah, it's going to be more common in the future to not show your children online, especially with this whole no social media accounts for children under 16. I think that is really good. I don't even know why that's not a thing already. It should be. I ran into Tammy Hembro's kids the other day in my hometown and felt so weird knowing that I've seen them grow up but literally don't know them. Yes, Steph Claire Smith spoke about that recently, and that's why she no longer shows her son's face. Megsy is an admin of the Grow and Glow Facebook page now. She's going to take Kiara's spot. Okay, so they definitely are still friends. That makes so much sense that she's going to take her spot. Megsy does self-help courses as well, much like Sophie Guidolin and like, you know, all the other influencers. But I believe Megsy charges about $600. I remember they were quite expensive. Which actually is a really good segue into my next story. So I've replaced the influencer giveaways Tammy Hembro story with this new story. So Sarah Kearns, she is releasing a self-help course tonight, actually at 7 p.m. She's doing the first launch of it, although she said that there's some sort of VIP group that got first access and they're already loving it apparently. But it is a 249 6-week life overhaul challenge. Life overhaul challenge is the title I've given it, not her. And she's said that it is about, let me read it because it's a lot of things: menstrual cycle coaching, body image support, nutrition and meal planning tips, Reiki healing, overwhelm and stress management, workouts designed for women, pelvic floor and women's health, life hacks and DIY beauty tutorials. So it sounds like it's a very big course, which is great. Like if you're going to pay $249 for a 6-week course, it's good to know you're getting a lot of information. She has introduced 3 professionals that are going to be like assisting her in this course. One is a naturopath and nutritionist. One is a menstrual cycle coach, which is apparently a thing. And another is a trainer and founder of Kin Health Co. And to me, this sounds a lot like Georgie Stevenson's course. I've actually mentioned her so many times tonight in this live, but yeah, Georgie Stevenson has like a motherhood course, which is about when you become a mother and you lose yourself. It's about like finding yourself sort of thing and working out how life is going to be better for you and how you can balance motherhood with your own needs, things like that. And this very much sounds the same, like becoming the best version of you now that you're a mum. And it hasn't launched without controversy, of course. So Sarah Kearns' ex-business partner, who I believe, I got this information from the Outspoken Facebook group, by the way. The Traveling Psychologist is her Instagram name. So her name is also Sarah, but her name is Sarah Wills. So Sarah Kearns and Sarah Wills apparently have worked together on a course in the past, and this is going to be different to that course, Sarah Kearns is telling us. And Sarah Wills is an actual psychologist. And she, today on her stories, she has gone on to criticize influencer programs. She didn't mention Sarah Kearns, but in general, she's criticizing influencer programs, saying that it's contradictory of them to use before and after weight loss photos to promote a program that's not about weight loss. So Sarah Kearns has used a before and after photo of herself looking a certain size and then looking a smaller size. And that's to promote the course. But I mean, she hasn't said that it's a weight loss course, but she has said that she's lost 25 kilos by implementing all of this stuff that's made her feel better about herself. So I suppose in the before and after, it's like, before this was me, I was feeling crap about myself. I had no motivation, no energy, no anything. And now I've put in all this work and this is me now. Yes, I've lost 25 kilos and I'm so much happier in other aspects of my life. But yeah, I can see that anyone looking at this photo would think this is a weight loss course and I'm going to buy it to work out how to lose weight. And that the Sarah Wills, the psychologist, she also said that by creating a program without skills and experience, Sarah Kearns, or she didn't name Sarah Kearns, is putting vulnerable people at risk. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting point that, yeah, influencers are potentially like marketing to people who are vulnerable, and they're trusting this influencer, and then they're doing this course and the course has like no professional backing, and that it's actually a risk to the vulnerable people. Like they need proper psychologist help. I noticed that In the past, I've done a few of Georgie Stevenson's courses, and she very much makes it very clear at the start of each segment that this does not replace psychologist advice. Like, throughout it, she also says, like, if you are having trouble with this, like, I advise you go see a GP and get on a mental health plan, like that sort of thing. And I imagine Sarah Kearns is going to do something similar, just for, like, legal reasons. I suppose they have to do that. And what else have I said here? What else have I got here? That's about it with Sarah Kearns' course, really. I mean, somebody has said that in the Outspoken Podcast Facebook that the logo looks really similar to another brand, but they're both called Project Glow. But I think that's honestly where the similarities ends when I look into it. Like, this other person's, it wasn't like a 6-week challenge or anything. I thought that one was maybe reaching a little bit for drama, but yes, let's see what the comments are saying. Because a lot of people are messaging me saying, please talk about this tonight. Maybe I should have read from the bottom. Everyone's still just talking about Ashy. Love how any unqualified person calls himself a life coach these days and charges $600 for uneducated advice. I mean, to be fair, Ashy's friend Megsy, I believe she has done a life coaching course and is charging $600 for the advice. But yeah, I think that what the psychologist said about skills and experience, she didn't say, you know, this person's lacking formal qualifications, because yes, you can have a formal qualification. Like, when I finished uni, I was qualified as an accountant, sort of thing. Well, not qualified, but sort of qualified as an accountant. But that doesn't mean I actually have skills and experience in that qualification. Like, I actually had no idea what I was doing when I first came out of uni. Nobody does. It's like how when you first start teaching, actually no, teachers do a lot of placement, so that's kind of a bit different. But yeah, like, I see that just because you have lost weight or overhauled your life doesn't mean you're experienced in teaching other people how to do the same thing. Who buys these courses? Well, yeah, I guess, as I said before, I have done, I think it's 2 of Georgie Stevenson's courses. So yeah, I guess fans of the influencers do. Yeah, there's a lot of people who like being sold to, and I'm a bit of a sucker for it. I buy a lot of influencer products. But I just find it fun. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm allowed to spend my money on things that I want to spend my money on. But as long as I'm not going in as a vulnerable person expecting miracles, like, that's the people we're worried about here. Who's running the course? Sarah Kearns we're talking about. I think that person joined late. AI has probably written half of the content. Yeah, well, I suppose that is probably pretty common these days. I don't know. Anyone who is buying a course or a diet plan from an influencer needs their head read. Guilty. Doesn't Megsy run a sex course? Very much could be, actually. She could have done a 1-month course and got the title of life coach. There's no regulation. It's like nutritionist versus dietitian. Anyone can get a certificate. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Do they also promote the 34 egg and 3 kilo of avocado with a side of tuna or other protein with every meal diet plan? They probably do, to be honest, because that seems to be all the rage with influencers lately. That's what they're all eating. Just because I can stand in my garage doesn't mean I'm a car. Very interesting concept. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, yeah, they're pretending there's something that they're not, maybe. Everybody seems very sad that Kiara's not going to be on the podcast anymore. I have put so much weight on my body, it's out of control. Yeah, that really sucks. I think we all go through that at some point. Well, I know I do, but yeah, it sucks, that feeling of feeling out of control. Okay, there weren't really many comments about Sarah Kearns. I thought that was going to be a big deal. So now I will end on the influencer giveaways thing. So I mentioned that I was going to talk about how somebody was accusing somebody of things. I'm just trying to be careful what I say here. But yeah, the owner of Influencer Giveaways messaged me tonight and he explained a few things. He sent me some like screenshots of some emails and things. And I think that there were a few false accusations in the video. that was posted by a small business owner that was going to buy into one of his giveaways, and then she came out saying that it was all a scam, but he's saying that there were a lot of defamatory comments in that video, and yeah, can I please remove it because it's now going to be a legal